A water balloon?
You ever wonder what it feels like to be a god? Having the power to do anything right at your fingertips. Well, I did. And how did I become one? Endless followers to worship me? Start a cult in the mountains? Snort a ton of coke? No. I fell asleep. Lucid dreaming. That thing that happens when your brain says, "Now you're dreaming." Allowing you to become conscious while you are dreaming. Allowing you to do essentially anything you want. It's been practiced for thousands of years, mostly by teenagers trying to hook up with their crush. The term lucid dreaming was originally coined in 1913 by Dutch psychiatrist and writer Frederik van Eden in an article titled A Study of Dreams.
Yes!
Or by Juice WRLD in 2018, depending on who you ask.
What was y'all thinking?
But its origins stretch back far further than even this, with it being central to the practices of dream yoga and yoga nidra, a series of techniques involving dreams and sleep originating from ancient Hindu and Buddhist practices. It was even found mentioned in ancient Greek writings, with philosopher Aristotle, yep, that one, writing, "Often when one is asleep, there is something in consciousness which declares that what then presents itself is but a dream."
That's what I'm saying.
While studies on lucid dreaming are rare, even to this day, it was first proven in a scientific setting in the 1970s by Stanford psychophysiologist Stephen LaBerge. Imagine trying to explain that to your supervisor. "Sir, I will scientifically prove that this man is dreaming about piping Megan Fox."
Hey guys.
Stephen proved that lucid dreaming occurred during REM sleep when dreamers were asked to move their eyes in distinct patterns when they became lucid during their dreams. REM, of course, being the part of your sleep cycle in which your brain is the most active, almost close to the level of activity that occurs while you're awake. Dreams, and as such, lucid dreams, all occur during this period of sleep, and as such, it's the part of sleep that you need to know about and target when trying to lucid dream. Cool, I think we're all caught up then. Congratulations, you're now officially more qualified than 90% of the TikTok gurus that you see talking about lucid dreaming. So, how do I learn to lucid dream? I hear you ask. Let's go through the techniques. First, reality checks. While not a direct technique of entering into a lucid dream, it does help to check if you are dreaming. These are checks like counting the fingers on your hand, trying to push your fingers through your palm, or holding your nose and seeing if you can still breathe. The hope is to get the idea of lucid dreaming fresh in your mind in order to increase the likelihood of you performing one of these checks in an actual dream, causing you to go lucid. Some people combine this with everyday actions such as going through a door or maybe when they look at their phone, ensuring they do a check at these times. Me personally, I have a phone background that has "Are you dreaming?" written right in the center of it, so I can keep it fresh in my mind throughout the day. Just fair warning, it can have the side effect of making you look like a complete freak if you keep staring at your hands and holding your nose throughout the entire day, so be subtle. Second, dream journaling. Not a direct technique of inducing a lucid dream, but still completely essential. Having a lucid dream is great, but only if you can remember it. If you're someone who doesn't normally remember their dreams, or your recall is spotty at best, get into this practice ASAP. It can be a notes app on your phone, audio recordings, physical pen and paper, doesn't matter. Just try to write it down in as much detail as possible every morning until you can get to a point where you're pretty consistently remembering multiple dreams a night. I don't care how embarrassing or weird they were, write that shit down. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Next, we move on to our first actual technique of inducing a lucid dream. Mnemonic-induced lucid dreaming, or MILD. MILD is the simplest of all lucid dreaming techniques and normally the one that has the highest success rate for first timers.
Wow.
The name makes it sound completely complicated, but it's very easy. You basically just need to gaslight yourself. As you're falling asleep, you repeat a phrase in your head, such as, "I will know when I am lucid dreaming," again and again and again. I tend to do it about 10 times or more. You just want to make sure it's really stuck in there as you drift off to sleep. Because dreams, and as an extension, lucid dreams, are wholly built off our expectations. So we need to trick ourselves into believing that we will actually know we're dreaming, thus causing us to become lucid and take control of the dream. Fourth, and finally, let's talk about my personal favorite technique, wake-induced lucid dreaming, also known as wild. Wild involves waking yourself up during the night, typically 4 to 6 hours after initially falling asleep. This is because your longest REM cycle is around about this point. From here, you go back to sleep while still trying to stay conscious. I know that sounds insane, but let me explain. Most wild users will focus their consciousness on something in their room. For me, it's normally the sound of my own breathing. Just slightly focusing your mind on it as you're falling asleep. If all goes well, there's a high chance you will enter directly into a dream while still holding on to that consciousness, meaning you are instantly lucid and free to do whatever you want. Now, maybe you're asking, what's the point of all this? Why go through the trouble of lucid dreaming, waking myself up in the middle of the night, probably ruining my sleep, right? Well, to give you some inspiration, I'm going to the deepest, darkest, most horrific place on all of the internet. I'm not a fan of the lucid dreaming subreddit. I find it to be a source of just straight bullshit and misinformation a fair amount of the time, but hey, it's got some interesting stories. One user wrote that he fell asleep and lived an entire lifetime. Not just a few days, but decades. He had a wife, kids, a job, everything. He said it felt like years had passed and that the emotional weight was real. And then he woke up. No wife, no kids. Just an empty room and a crushing sense of loss. He said he genuinely missed them, like he'd lost a real family. So yeah, don't go getting addicted to this shit and starting a dream family. I ain't taking responsibility. Another common story from people online is that of a dream guide. These are characters within your dreams that appear throughout multiple different dreaming instances, helping you to do things like learn to fly or spawn dream characters, which quickly become essential when you're lucid dreaming. They also converse with dreamers, allowing them to speak with a piece of their subconscious. I've heard some people say they can spawn a clone of themselves and talk to it. It's on the bucket list, trust me. Insane. I also wanted to chuck in my own story of my first lucid dream. So to preface, I for years thought I didn't have dreams at all.
You're a fucking idiot.
Never remembered anything and had sleep paralysis like 2 or 3 times when I was a kid. So not a lot of experience, right? I fell down the YouTube rabbit hole of shitty lucid dream tonight, 99% success rate videos, and within a couple days of using these stupid fucking techniques and just only thinking about lucid dreaming, I actually had one. I was talking with some guy about my age on the street. No clue what it was about, but all of a sudden he just stops talking. He goes wide-eyed and just stares at me. And then whispers to me low, "You're dreaming." The second I registered what he said, boom, pulled into a black void, nothingness, stretching out in all directions. I felt the dream getting blurry. I had no clue what was happening, and it was starting to slip. So I had to think of something. I thought of New York. Boom! In an instant, I'm standing in the middle of Central Park, skyscrapers all around. I started flying through the trees, over the lakes, wind flying through my hair. It was beautiful. And just as soon as it started, it was over, back in my bed, back in reality. But boy was I ever hooked. I'm telling y'all, if you still aren't convinced, please give it a shot over a couple nights. It's so worth it. So yeah, dreams can be power trips.
Can you suck it?
What?
Emotional spirals even. Holidays to places you've never been. And the best part? None of it's real. Except the part that lingers after. Nightmares are your standard deal. Dreams of horrible things, like a murderer chasing you, being torn apart by sharks, your house burning down around you, and sometimes even more. We've all had them, and we will all continue to have them. However, lucid dreaming can allow you to take control of them, but only if you're actually aware and in control. Personally, my dreams, and even my lucid ones, are sometimes haunted by a spindly black entity that always lurks just outside of my cone of vision, invading my mind at seemingly random times, always soon followed by dozens of bodies appearing around me. I just sound schizo now, don't I? But standard nightmares are no match for the true terror caused by sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is a state during waking up or falling asleep in which a person is conscious but in a state of full body paralysis. During this episode, the victim is often said to have vivid hallucinations that they can hear, feel, and see. These are often nicknamed sleep paralysis demons, with common descriptions being a shadowy figure looming over the edge of a bed, or ghostly figures laughing at and sometimes crawling on the victim. Okay, now that I've scared you, I've got to tell you why I can't take this shit seriously anymore. This fella by the name of Tiger123, great source for other lucid dreaming videos by the way, told the story of how he suffered sleep paralysis from a ghostly woman, similar to the chick from The Ring. Happened to him many times, right? And take a guess on how he stopped it. Go on, I'll give you a few seconds, you can think about it. He gave the demon back shots, and it hasn't been back since. So if you're ever looking for a cure, hey, take that one, I guess. That's all I got. Get out there and give your sleep paralysis demon the root of a lifetime.